Welcome to what is probably one of the most requested videos ever. A one-up Wednesday, or just full review, of the Supreme Ruler series, starting with 2020, mostly because I didn't play 2010 at all. So, let's go right into it. But first, I will share a little bit of the history of the Supreme Ruler series to kind of get some people up to speed. Battlegoat Studios is a game developer based in Ontario, Canada, and they formed to develop Supreme Ruler 2010, which was a massive upgrade from Battlegoat CEO George Gexey's, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, text-based strategy game called Supreme Ruler Plus, released on the TRS-80 in 1982. Supreme Ruler 2010 was a relative success, earning widespread praise and even Best PC Game at the 2006 Canadian Electronic and Animated Arts Awards. With the success of this, they began to work on a sequel, easily the most famous Supreme Ruler 2020. After this, they had Cold War, 1936, and finally, Supreme Ruler Ultimate. Now that I've given you a bit of a rundown on the company and everything itself, let's go into the review itself. Supreme Ruler 2020 is debated to be a fan favorite of the series, but why? Coming in as a newcomer, there are issues, and unfortunately very obvious ones. First off, the game has some lag issues. Even on a beefy PC like mine, especially when wars start up, you see units chugging along more than running smoothly. Though this is not game-breaking lag, it is still a problem. Secondly, the largest problem I find, the AI. Supreme Ruler 2020's AI system is generally quite brain-dead. They get stuck often, they get surrounded easily, and they generally get stuck in areas where no supply is instead of attempting to take large cities or even capitals to victor. They just wander off into the middle of fucking nowhere. This problem can frustrate people enough to stop playing. I've actually seen people completely rage quit in this. People want an enemy that takes an effort to defeat, not just drives into the forest to die. Those two problems being said, however, Supreme Ruler 20 does a lot right. The economy is easily one of the best I have ever seen in grand strategy games. It's extremely vital to victory, and it's really fragile like in reality. There is imports and exports and reserve amounts, there are deficits and debts, bonds and UN sanctions. It's extensive and well thought out, and it really makes you feel like a real president or dictator, whatever you choose. Supreme Ruler 2020 is also very hard. Harder than other games that I find in the series. Wars are constant, superpowers are super powerful, and having to keep up with the economy adds to the tension and difficulty. You have to weigh every choice to figure out if it's beneficial to your nation or not. And mistakes will be made, and you will lose, or at least be set back by an unexpectedly hard enemy or enemies. The last thing is the diplomatic assets. Diplomacy and alliances are vital to survival, especially when going to war. Having nations on your side, or at least friendly enough with you to buy your exports, means a healthy economy, and even sometimes helps in larger conflicts when your ally declares war on your enemies and assists you in the war. And finally, there is something I like that most people hate: invasions by sea. Supreme Ruler 2020 has no merchant marines like the newer installments do. It has transports and aircraft carriers to get land units from one continent or one island nation or whatever to another. Now this can be done by landing in allied lands, or invading enemy by sea. The difficulty in doing this and the tension of not knowing if your carrier will be sunk amps up the pressure and your strategy in certain invasions. I find this way, though much more tedious, is a lot more satisfying, because when you succeed, you feel like you did it with your units and people. It took billions of dollars, hundreds of man-hours, and a huge amount of planning to pull off, and it's purely satisfying in ways that the Merchant Marine can never be to me. All in all, Supreme Ruler 2020 is definitely my favorite of the series, and that can also be reinforced by my excessive playtime of the game, clocking it somewhere around 230 hours as of making this review. Surprisingly enough, too, not a lot of that is actually my Let's Plays. Only probably about 15% of that gameplay time is actually Let's Play time. Keeping in mind, too, that the Steam version I only got maybe 6-7 months ago when I switched computers. So I haven't had the Steam version for all that long, so my playtime is probably somewhere in the 350-hour range total if I was to combine everything, which is kind of ridiculous. If you are at all interested in geopolitical or grand strategy games such as like Europa Universalis, for example, or even the Civilization series, definitely give this game a shot. It's fairly cheap now on Steam. I think it's only like $5 Canadian. I don't know, like, other currencies may vary, but it's still fairly cheap, and definitely worth the try. It has a big learning curve, like I did say, so definitely be prepared for that, but if you're ready for that, you'll have a good time with this game. I would give it an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Enjoyed that video? Well, check out my latest One-Up Wednesday video, the How Do You Do It review. Or maybe check out my Console Minute series if you want something maybe a little bit more serious. I just did one on the Game Boy Advance, actually. And if you really enjoyed, leave a like and maybe even subscribe. Thanks for watching.